Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we are looking up, way up. We're going to talk about the unsung hero of your house, your roof. But listen, I don't want you to think of it as just, a bunch of shingles and nails. I want you to start picturing your roof as a dynamic, working suit of armor. Because if you live in Tornado Alley, that's exactly what it is. Based on our source material from top roofing experts right in the Tulsa area, we're going to break down exactly what your home's armor is up against, how it actually gets destroyed, and what it takes to rebuild it so it can survive the next big one. Let's dive right in.
To really grasp what we're dealing with here, just wrap your head around this number, 110 miles per hour. That is the bare minimum wind speed rating that shingles must meet under Tulsa's local building codes. I mean, think about that for a second. We are talking about an incredibly extreme environment where your roof has to withstand Category 2 hurricane force winds just as a baseline standard. This isn't just about keeping a little rain out. This is about structural survival.
So here's our game plan for today. First up, Tornado Alley's unique threats. Second, how weather destroys roofs. Third, the three-step repair process. Fourth, building to strict codes. And finally, navigating insurance and laws. This is basically your ultimate guide to the entire storm cycle.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Tornado Alley's unique threats.
We really need to set the stage here because homes in Oklahoma aren't just dealing with a bad storm once every few years. They are taking an absolute beating year-round. It's a continuous, chronological cycle. In the spring, you've got hailstorms dropping ice that just shreds your shingles. Then, summer rolls in with that intense heat, causing thermal expansion, meaning your roof materials literally swell and warp, which loosens the fasteners. By fall, massive windstorms swoop in and tear right at those ridge caps. And just when you think you might be safe, winter brings these brutal freeze-thaw cycles. Freezing water gets forced right under those compromised shingles, leading to ice dams and interior leaks. The assault, honestly, it just never stops.
Which brings us perfectly into Section 2, how weather destroys roofs.
We know the seasons are tough, but what is the actual anatomy of the damage? The physical force at play here is just staggering. We're talking golf balls, sometimes even baseball-sized hail that literally fractures the shingles and blasts off that protective granule layer. Then you've got wind events regularly topping 60 miles per hour. That creates a powerful aerodynamic force called uplift that can just rip shingles right off the decking. And let's not forget those hyperlocal threats. If you live in older, gorgeous tree-lined neighborhoods like Maple Ridge or Brookside in Tulsa, you've got massive branches dropping debris during severe thunderstorms. That causes deep abrasion damage and traps wet, rotting moisture right against your roof.
But here is a massive aha moment that actually surprises a lot of homeowners. When you spot a leak inside, you probably assume a shingle blew off, right? Well, actually, scratch that. The most common culprit behind a leaking roof is usually failed flashing. Flashing is that metal material installed around chimneys, vents, and roof valleys. It takes the absolute brunt of the weather impact. When the temperature fluctuates, the fasteners loosen up, the sealant cracks, and boom, water has a direct, open highway right into your living room.
Okay, let's take a collective deep breath. We've survived the disaster phase. Let's move over to the recovery phase with Section 3, the three-step repair process.
Look, dealing with contractors in construction can be a massive headache, but it kind of doesn't have to be if you know how the pros operate. Professional repair is super structured. Step 1 is inspection and documentation. A real pro doesn't just squint at your roof from the driveway. They get up there, inspect the surface, climb into your attic, and document everything with photos for your insurance claim. Step 2 is the actual repair or replacement, where the crews handle everything from laying down new underlayment to upgrading your ventilation. And Step 3, which is huge for your peace of mind, is cleanup and final inspection. Good crews will literally drag magnetic rollers across your lawn to grab stray nails and metal debris before walking the whole property to make sure local building codes are met.
And speaking of codes, let's jump to Section 4, building to strict codes.
When your roof gets rebuilt, there's actually this hidden science and strict set of laws dictating exactly how it's done so it survives the next storm. Because Tulsa has adopted the International Residential Code, contractors are required to install very specific, hidden layers of protection. We're talking about secondary water barriers. The code mandates a minimum of 15-pound felt, but for truly superior protection against Oklahoma's wild freeze-thaw cycles, professionals will use an ice and water shield underlayment in the valleys and at the roof edges. So what does that mean for you? It means even if your outer shingles are totally ripped off by those 110-mile-per-hour winds, your home still has a secondary, waterproof layer protecting your family.
Now, when you're choosing your primary material, you've got a couple of options to weigh. Asphalt shingles are going to have a lower upfront cost and offer a really great balance of durability, especially if you spring for the upgraded Class 4 impact-resistant shingles. Metal roofing, on the other hand, that comes with a higher upfront price tag, but man, it provides truly superior long-term storm protection against hail and wind. But keep in mind, the final price isn't just about the materials you pick. It's heavily impacted by how steep your roof's pitch is, how many valleys it has, and whether the wood decking underneath needs to be fully replaced because of old moisture damage.
And that brings us right to our final chapter, Section 5, Navigating Insurance and Laws. The storm is past, the damage is done, and now you have to deal with the aftermath. This section is all about protecting yourself. Knowing the difference between a real pro and a scammer could literally save you thousands of dollars. A legitimate local roofer is going to provide detailed written contracts. They'll physically check your attic, verify their licenses without you having to ask, and give you totally transparent pricing. On the flip side, you have to beware of the storm chaser. These are the folks who magically appear in your neighborhood 5 minutes after a hailstorm. They pressure you to sign on the dotted line immediately, they demand full payment up front, and they often claim, very illegally by the way, that they can somehow waive your insurance deductible.
The state is actually taking this threat incredibly seriously now. In 2024, Oklahoma enacted Senate Bill 1498, and this is a total game changer. It strictly regulates roofing contractors. It legally prohibits them from waiving your deductible, it mandates incredibly clear disclosures of payment terms, and requires written contracts before a single hammer swings. It also makes it completely illegal for contractors to claim they represent your insurance company. This is a powerful, literal piece of legal armor for you, the homeowner, against fraudulent scams.
Before we wrap up today, I really want you to lock this number in your brain: 15 to 20 years. Once your asphalt roof hits this age bracket in a place like Oklahoma, insurance carriers start to consider it super high risk because of all that UV exposure and thermal cycling we talked about. So what does that mean for you? It means carriers might just straight up refuse to renew your policy, jack up your premiums, or downgrade your coverage to actual cash value instead of full replacement cost. So even if your roof isn't actively leaking into your kitchen right now, its age alone could be putting your home and your wallet at major risk.
Which leaves us with one final, absolutely critical question for you to consider today. Is your aging roof a hidden liability just waiting for the next storm? We've seen those 110-mile-per-hour winds, the structural damage, the complex repair processes, and the super strict codes required to survive Tornado Alley. Please, don't wait for water to start dripping from your ceiling to find out if your armor is cracked. Take action, get an inspection from a trusted local expert, and make absolutely sure your home is truly protected. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, stay safe out there.